Welcome to the Petty Pest Control Why series. These will be a series of very short, informative clips about questions we frequently receive in the industry. Often, we either give the wrong answer or simply don't have a clue, so we either make up an answer for the customer or admit we don't know. Most of the time, the customer has great questions that should have been addressed at the point of sale, so one must assume the person selling the service doesn't know the answer either. Regardless of where the failure occurs, if we do not provide the right answer, we lose the customer. So let's address the most frequently asked question this time of year. Winter applications on quarterly service. The customer asks, why do I have to take 4 treatments? Why can't I skip? Actually, that is a great question. And did you notice it was a compound question? The customer is actually asking 2 questions with the first one, why do I have to take 4 treatments? And the second question is even more complex. Why can't I simply skip the winter application? It is freezing out and I don't see any bugs. The questions are not trap questions, but they will trap you into giving a BS answer if you don't know the correct answers. So why are 4 treatments necessary? And can they skip a treatment during the colder months? Well, they aren't obligated to do anything. There are no laws enforcing it. If they've had the first treatment, say for ants, and there's no activity, why continue with the remaining 3? Specifically, why bother with the January treatment when it's freezing and there's no activity? What advice would you offer as either an admin or technician? Well, there's a reason why 4 treatments are needed and why skipping treatment during the colder months isn't recommended. In fact, skipping that winter treatment will negate previous treatments and accelerate pest pressure in the spring. But to explain this effectively to the consumer, you must understand why. So let's use ants as an example for this training exercise. Also, be aware that 99% of products available to pest control companies are adulticides, meaning they are effective only for adult insects and won't affect eggs or larvae. Combine that with the fact that all pesticides begin to biodegrade as soon as they are applied. Let's put this all together with the ant example. Using the ant example for training is perfect, as most insects follow the same pattern and require at least 4 treatments to effect control or elimination. The life cycle from egg to adult ant takes about 6 to 10 weeks, but this varies by species and environmental conditions. The 4 distinct stages of the ant life cycle are egg, larva, pupa, and adult. That is about 3 months, or for our purposes, a quarter. The customer receives the initial treatment for the ants. Remember, we are applying an adulticide, which will affect adult ants only. What the customer sees is a slow population reduction in adult ants. Unless the company has advised them of what to expect, the customer will get a false sense of success. Also, remember that the product will begin to biodegrade due to environmental pressures like moisture, sunlight, and even house cleaning. The first treatment for the ants was in late August, and the customer is delighted, seeing very little, if any, activity. December is coming up, and they receive their next treatment notice. Now you get the original compound question. Why take the 4 treatments? And why can't they skip this December treatment? Let's say they cancel the quarterly treatments or skip the December treatment. While they're free to make their own choices, as a professional company, our customers deserve our best advice to guide them toward the correct decisions. In this scenario, the customer stopped service because they believed the population was eliminated or suppressed. However, since we used an adulticide, the eggs and larvae that were still present hatched. Now, with the second treatment skipped or canceled, a new adult population is exploding because there's no residual chemical left to control them. By the 3rd quarter, an angry customer will call, claiming our treatments and chemicals are ineffective. Now, we know that when we apply our product, it directly impacts the existing adult ant population and will continue to do so for a short time. However, each day the product degrades and becomes weaker. As the product degrades, the eggs and larvae continue to populate and will eventually overcome the product. This is the reason for reapplication. Also, pests do not hibernate or die during the winter. In fact, they seek warm harborage inside homes to escape the harsh winter weather. On warmer days and nights, they will venture out to feed. If product is not in place, the population will continue to grow inside the warm walls, and by spring, the home will be overcome with a fresh, new infestation. That is why skipping winter treatments is not advisable either. Now you know why the minimum of 4 treatments are needed and why skipping the winter service is a bad idea. Keep checking this site for more on the Why series.